Now, I gonna warn you folks right now. This here story got a little curse word at the end, so if you got children in the room, you need to go ahead and kick them out or whatever you want to do. Anyway, this here story is about a long time ago, back in the day when people had telephones in their house. Before cell phones. This man, he was driving down a country road, and it was raining real bad, and his car broke down. And he looked up on the hill, and there was two houses. There was one right near where his car broke down, and then there was another just a little bit over yonder. So he was running, he going up through the rain, he get ready to knock on the door, and he looked in the door, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. There was this man and this lady, and they were butt naked sitting at the kitchen table. The lady, she was just a beating her boobies on the table. And the man, he was sitting across from her. At the other side of the table, he just a wailing away and throwing buckets of water over his head. It was crazy. He was like, I ain't knocking on that door. So he went over to the house that was next door, and he looked in, he saw the kids, they were kind of normal, a little boy was chasing the cat around, that kind of stuff. So he went ahead and he knocked on the door, and the lady answered the door and said, ma'am, it's raining and my car broke down. I need to call me a tow truck. Can I use your telephone? And she was like, well, she didn't seem to like trust him, because she's like, well, your car broke down in front of my neighbor's house. Why didn't you ask them to use their telephone? He said, ma'am, you got some weird neighbors. She's like, what you mean I got weird neighbors? He said, ma'am, I was getting ready to knock on the door, and they had that little window, and I saw the lady, she butt naked, and the man, he's sitting across from her on the table. He was butt naked. The lady was just a beating her boobies on the table, and the man, he was just a wailing away on himself and throwing buckets of water over his head. He said, I'm sorry, but you got some weird neighbors. And this lady, she starts laughing. He's like, you think that's okay? And she's all, that's Fred and Ethel, is what she said. She said, they're deaf and dumb mutes. Ethel saying, Fred, go milk the cows. And Fred saying, fuck you, it's raining outside. Sheriff, you dare.